Now, before we go into the ranking session as weekly as we do it, 2 times at least minimum, let me talk about the upcoming stuff for 2.0 as far as we already know. And that is something that was a little bit surprising, because Frosty Faustings actually posted some of the sneak peeks that we have. And some of these sneak peeks are really interesting. Especially since we know, like, basically the inputs for Sandalphon, which I'll go over in a few seconds. I should have actually uploaded the webpage for that, because the inputs are really interesting. While I must admit, I kind of saw it coming. There's a lot of inspiration taken from Sandalphon versus rising inputs. The input list is actually what I kind of thought, and it was really interesting because I talked about it in a short bit on stream, and now that we have like Frosty Biting's actual reasons and what he does, the entire command list is a little bit leaked, so it looks forward. I'm looking forward to this because the things are really interesting. Where is yeah. I've seen it, I just need to find it again. Not sure where it is exactly, let me just damn it. God damn it, hell. Lots and lots of stuff.
Lots and lots of stuff. Lots and lots of stuff. Lots and lots of
The thing is, sorry, I forgot that I have Streaming Labs, but I haven't actualized and stuff. That is the reasons why the John Cena stuff doesn't work properly. I need to do multiple things. No one ever used it, so I've never really looked into it again. Yeah, I will take care of that part. But let me talk about Sandalphon's input list. I have the input list. I have seen it, and I think we need to go for a short moment here onto the Reddit. Reddit actually had some stuff about Sandalphon. Let's see if I can find it. Sandalphon trailer for Rising. I'm trying to find it. It was on Reddit. It was kind of walking over it. I didn't really pay attention as much. But apparently the inputs are really interesting. So, even if I don't find it right now, I can actually describe how we are supposed to play the game in character. There's some multiple links. Last week on Friday, after I've streamed, I've came over to this, like, I've watched a Bricks video, and he talked about it briefly. And I'm like, damn, I didn't see that even happening. I didn't find it on Twitter. I've looked into the stuff, but I've watched it thoroughly as he talked about it in the momentary stuff. And he talked about the changes in general, and I think the system change which caught me off guard the most was how they envisioned the brave counter change, right? So let's talk shortly in a moment about Sandalphon. Sandalphon is basically you're using your heavy button inputs, light button inputs, unique button inputs, as also mid button inputs to change the element. So this is something that is really interesting to me. Also, good evening, Eurokiloli Kuroi. I'm sorry that I didn't really say it, but hey, how are you doing? Good evening. I've tried on my secondary window to actively look for the stuff that I wanted to find. Yurikuo, okay. I really tried to find that stuff on my secondary window, and so was a little bit. It was covering up the entire OBS here, so I didn't see your message. So, yeah. The button inputs are really interesting in my honest opinion. It kind of works as I've predicted, kind of like Shulk in Smash Bros. Ultimate or Smash Bros. For Nintendo Wii U. You have dedicated button presses for specific elements, and the reason why you have that is this makes the character kind of unique, because all the specials can be powered up with all the elements, different from what I thought what would happen, but button inputs in itself actually dedicate the power and the power buff, and the self buff in general. And in all honesty, I feel like that is a really cool, interesting idea, kind of like Shulk was played. And Shulk was supposedly, it is supposedly one of the better characters, what has a lot of things you need to learn about Shulk, right? Sandalphon seems to be somewhat the same, with these unique button pressures and stuff. So, a little bit strange, but Yuroko, I'm sorry. I mispronounced the ancient name, I'm very sorry. Because I'm a little bit excited to talk about this, because I kind of predicted that Sandalphon is supposed to be played like Shulk. And this in itself was like, damn, I was right with something. So yeah. So basically you can power up your special attacks with any of these 4 elements: wind, fire, earth, and water. And then you have specific properties, in my honest opinion, that is ridiculously interesting and makes his character unique in itself. But also... But what I wanted to say, it makes the character unique in itself, but also incredibly complicated. So there might be situations, because with the wind buff, for example, you're allowed to, like, air dash. Something you're not allowed to do in this game in general. But with Sandalphon, you are allowed to do air dashes if you use your wind button buff. That, in my honest opinion, is really interesting, right? And with that in mind, you have these button pressures and button difficulties to change as also your button inputs, right? And keep in mind, you also need to press the U button so that you have the chance to do that. So sometimes you possibly need to do W for the sake of getting your your wind pressure up, like whatever button is dedicated for that. All honesty, I feel like this is an interesting part about the character. And it feels interesting for me specifically, because I feel like this character should supposedly be unique. And yeah, this character plays very unique. This might also add another layer of difficulty to the character, where I feel like a difficulty, like this character is supposed to be played out of the box and supposed to be as a DLC, one of the most popular asked characters to be in Versus Rising. I didn't expect that Cygames actually does that, because as I've predicted, the Shulk inputs were never supposed to be easy. They've made it easier in Smash Ultimate, where you press the B button and then the direction which you need to go, and then you have, for a limited amount of time, you can actually use the buffs, the self buffs, right? And Sandalphon seems to be working exactly the same. So yeah, I was a little bit surprised that they wanted to do this kind of stuff. Now, of course, another thing that is pretty interesting for me to speak about is Vikala. So, Vikala has right now a little bit of a huge problem in general. She isn't as strong as she was supposed to be. Like, there are some really good combos that you can get with this character. The problem is the character specifically, I'm not sure what exactly happens, but this character fucking sucks. Like, generally, this character does not what it is supposed to do. And most likely because of, where is it? This one is not this one, and I guess also the heart in general. Like, two of these very, very inconsistent items, right? It is supposed to be random. Exactly, that's the same that I wanted to say. Anila seems to be a very strong character. She has the tools, but the problem is she is incredibly weak. She needs to use specific parts of her tool to get in. The problem is Vikala is a range character that is supposed to be played with randomization. The problem is sometimes it happens that you have the cannons up. You have the, I don't know Vatori, let me be honest. I don't know all the high level players right now, but I will get in the future into this more. But the problem is with Vikala in general. Sometimes you have like an item that you don't want to have happen to your opponent, and bam, it flies in his face and basically gives him either extra gauge or life back. And this can sometimes happen quite a lot. And you're basically stuck with exactly this. Okay, you can't use that, right? You don't want to use a heart. Why would you use a heart? You're standing in this idle stance and hope for the best. Which, of course, in the aftermath means you have... it's an Anila player who he dropped a little bit for Anila for Beatrix. Okay. Yeah. Again, Vikala has this problem. You need to know a little bit about her game plan, as also you need to be very specific with the combo inputs, I guess. This is really something... it's completely fine. It's you don't mention. I've read between the lines. I kind of get what you were trying to say. But yeah, you have, of course, combo game plans, and you have projectiles. The point is, the randomization makes it harder to keep these combos consistent. And therefore the character is deemed as one of the... I would go so far and say one of the worst DLC characters right now. Not really a big threat, especially when I think about the tier list, where she is standing and what you're supposed to do with her. Not good. Especially, and this is the worst part, some of the combos don't completely work because you need to have a specific setup of items which are completely randomized, keep that in mind. That has to do with her cannons, for example. And you have then also, I think the best part would be here to get actually, oh yeah, the cooldown is really long on that one. Forgot about that. Yeah, basically with the star. The star is one of the more important items to this game, to her game plan, to keep the combo floating and stuff, and your opponent still blocking while you can approach left and right easily, right? So, yeah. They've said basically what is completely taken the random factor away. From these Frosty biting, like Frosty Fausting's bits that we saw, Vikala gets buffed in a very significant way, where the randomization is still kind of active, but I feel like despite the fact that they tried to buff Vikala, that is not how to play a random character. Supposedly, as far as I have read it, and as far as I have understood it, Vikala gets an additional window, basically either on her portrait or somewhere, where the player who plays the Vikala has the item inside of the box, and every 5 seconds, the item is changed. So that means... if we take basically away the complete random factor from Vikala, which was the suit of playing a random character with random items, and you can basically create more combos and better combos for the sake of getting this character floating. And I guess she will get a lot of frame buffs too, because her frames are not the best ones, right? So it's kind of that... I don't know, stuff. Well, I do have a reason why I'm saying this, because a random character with random items, we are talking about specifically like characters like Faust, right, from Guilty Gear, or characters like Mr. Game & Watch, where the special button, the judgment call is basically doing a number between 1 and 9, and 9 is supposed to be rarely hit, right? Or we're talking also about a randomized character, also in Smash, Peach, with different items and different turn-ups, right? Every turn-up is supposed to do some like different damage or different knockback. Or if it's not if it's not a turn-up, it is supposed to give you a random item. One random item that can happen most of the time is what people want is the bob-omb, because the bob-omb breaks shield on block, right? So it's a random factor, it's a shock moment, and it's supposed to help Peach in general to make her gameplay flowing, right? Taking that away as of a random item character, like Vikala is, I don't feel like that's the right way to go. And keep in mind, everything we're talking about is subject of change. There can be differences in the outcome. It's just something that we had as a sneak peek. And truth to be told, I would not want to have a Vikala consistently looking into the future window she has, or whatever, and then basically react on point what she needs to do. That would not be in spiritual links of a itemizing character like that. So that is another change. So let's talk about the final thing that was posted. And that one is really never talk about how much Cygames actually cares about its game and the community and the players of Granblue Fantasy. So we'll talk about this in an interesting part here. This is the final part. Yeah. So they will change. They will basically, yeah, they will change Brave counter. Let me just, I think this isn't set up right. Nope. No. Not make it random, make it on. Right? And they've changed the Brave counter system into some degree. So when you do this and you block, as you can see right now, I'm -6, my opponent is in advantage, right? So the Brave counter will be changed in a way where you block this and you're ending up with minus frames on the opposing side. Means you will not be plus on block. You will be minus on block. Instead of this, where you are definitely minus while he spot dodges, right? You spot dodge, your opponent will be minus, right? This is kind of what you do. This is why we call this a Brave counter bait. Right? This is, we all know it, we love it, we do it. Everyone needs to understand that. And then we have the new change coming in, where the Brave counter is supposed to be blocked like this. Wait. With a light. Right? And you have that. You have that. And just write it down. I will read it. Don't worry. We'll talk about it in a little bit more. I'm just curious what people think about this. But yeah. I do this, right? For example. This is so strange. This, I don't get me wrong. Bravery counter in itself was too powerful. Like bravery, the BP system in general is kind of broken as it is. You have more aggressive sides and more defensive sides. Bravery counter definitely needed a change, because if you press nothing and you get a bravery counter, you have a neutral state. If you press, if you get brave counter and press anything, here, wait, sometimes it doesn't work properly. You get a hard knockdown, right? Which kind of defeats the purpose of resetting to neutral game. So, like Brick, I'm actually fully for the... Just reset it to this state where both characters have distance, right? And everything is fine. That's something that I could have worked with. Instead, they said, you know, fuck it, we'll nerf the shit out of this entire stuff. You will not be minus on block anymore, you will be plus on block at this point when you are on the defensive side. So that reasons for not dodging a brave counter is more important. Because if you don't do it, you'll end up in this situation and you will be -6. Honest opinion about this is pretty broken. The system is already pretty broken as a defensive option. But I'm happy that they don't take it away, because let me be honest, Vaseraga, as I am a Vaseraga main, it would suck if I have one defensive option less. But yeah. That is all I can talk about this entire stuff. Yeah, it is one of those matters where I feel like, okay, this seems as an interesting change. Would I change it in a different way? Yes, I would. I would also go so far and say resetting this was okay. This is completely fine, right? You get reset to neutral. This definitely should not be in case, right? Because you end up on plus. That means something like my favorite thing that people actually talked about. Wait. I tried to make it work. I'm not good at it. I think it was supposed to be with a little bit more delay, right? Something like that. Right? Something like this Granblue fantasy stuff here. I think this is that way. No, wait. Something like this should not be possible in the first place. But you have situations, even in the last tournament I saw on the GBVR Arc System tournament in Japan. It was completely, you saw this like very often. You had brave counter over brave counter over brave counter just thrown away for keeping the turns up, right? And in my honest opinion, that isn't something that should happen all the time. It was funny if it happened, but in that tournament, like I feel like something that I really hope will happen is that they actively do something else. Keeping a neutral state, in my honest opinion, wouldn't have been the worst point. Like if you press buttons by accident. Here, for example, when I press a button, I hacked. Sometimes it doesn't work properly, somehow. I was told that I should supposed to press buttons, and if I'm not aggressive, it does something. Right? Now, here, for example. Is this consistent? Yeah, this is consistent. Right, if I press a button and do something else after that, and I still get countered, like I get a hard knockdown, my opponent has 45 frames to do something. But on the other hand, just setting it to neutral stage would have been completely fine. I would have been fine with it, and I think the nerf is basically something that no one saw coming in that manner. It's good that we get it, because this bravery counter system can sometimes actually go for a long time. But yeah, I agree. The nerf is interesting, in my honest opinion. It most likely means you need to spot dodge this one, or you will get brave counter, and you will be minus when you get blocked. Basically, means your opponent has a turn. So yeah. Alright, that about this video. I'm not sure what people think. Write it down in the comment section. It would help out the video to be spread. More people talk about it, the more people are interested in this game. And yeah, keep in mind, I'll stream every Monday, Wednesday and Friday. I do ranking up sessions. I've played tournaments if possible. And yeah, I'll stream every Monday and Wednesday and Friday. And of course we talk about the game. That is supposed to be part talking of the game. The system changes, in my honest opinion, will definitely change. Now let me talk about a little bit, just a little section of something that I really wish from the bottom of my heart will happen. Because I saw the stream of the GBVR system Game Cup, and everyone was so disappointed to see people with a pocket Siegfried. I hope to God that they finally realized that Siegfried, despite this nerf in the Vesusia patch, that he's still too powerful, that he's still too easy, that people still have pocket Siegfrieds. And I saw this so often that in this tournament, players went over to a pocket Siegfried, and everyone in the stream was, "Oh, really? Again?" So yeah, I think Siegfried, I really hope Siegfried, you love your pocket Siegfried. Don't get me wrong, you can play it as a pocket character. The problem is, like, the character is too powerful and too strong. And in my honest opinion, they should nerf it. I'm losing. Okay. Yeah. I still feel like the character is too powerful, and definitely needs to change this character to some degree. Because keep in mind, we're not talking specifically about his game plan. I like Siegfried too. The character seems to be very fun. I most likely would want to pick him up. The problem is, for the audience to see stuff like this, if you see a Siegfried over and over and over again, a character can be destroying a competitive scene, right? And I will talk about this too, because this is partially why I think this is important, right? If you engage with a video game, like a fighting game in general, and if you see in the top 8 a character that is so strong that a lot of people have this as a pocket character, right? That's not a bad point, but if you have this character as a pocket character and you see this character like in the top 8, 6 or 7 out of 8 players who have this character, people will complain from the visual audience, just those who watch the stream, watch the fights and stuff. And the reason is pretty damn obvious. Yes, the character is strong, but it will make things worse. And one of the instances that I think about the most of the time when I see this stuff is the Leroy incidents in Tekken, right? Where the character was so powerful on the tournament release that 7 out of 8 players actively went to Leroy, and I think even 6 out of these 8 players were not even top attenders for tournaments, and they became one of the top 8. And this character was so powerful, right? And if you have something like that in a tournament, it can get viewers away from watching at all. And you want to have attention span on the tournament, but also on the game, right? And this is a bad thing for several reasons. The problem will be, yeah, he's a strong character, everyone loves their pocket characters, that's completely fine. The problem is, if you see a character in the top 8, something needs to change. If you see a few of them sprinkled in, that's something else. This is like, if 7 out of 8 players play complete different characters as a pocket character because they're more comfortable with matchups and stuff, that is something different. But if all of these 7 players would play Siegfried, the character needs nerfs. And again, I don't like to call it out, but the Leroy incident was infamous because of that. The problem here for you guys in the stream right now, we only had sneak peeks for Vikala, as far as I'm concerned, and sneak peek for the system change of Bravery Counter, as also the input list for Thunderfon's stuff. That is all I can talk about. You can watch the video fully on Brix's stream. I highly recommend it. It's really worth something, because he will tell you exactly the same thing, except the secret part is solely on me. So guys, tell me what you think about the system change. Tell me what you think about the Vikala buff. As also, yeah, my ideology of nerfing the heck out of Siegfried. for the sake of, you know, keeping the game floating, keeping the game in viewers' eyes, of course, right? And about Sanderfon's input in general, how his unique works with light, unique, mid, and heavy button pressures. Keep in mind that as soon as the character is announced, we will watch, of course, in my stream, as also online as possible, all the stuff that is available, the informations about the changes of character changes, especially character buffs and nerfs. And this will be in the future, right now, far in the future. But yeah. Until then, I wish you good day, good night, good evening whenever you watch the video, and have a good one. If you want to download the game, you can download this game for free completely. You not need to pay anything. You will have Gran and 3 other different characters on a weekly rotation. And yeah, you can go play the game for free. It is completely fine. And also on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and Steam. There you have it. With that, heavy elite, over and out. See you in the next one.